27-year-old Rachel Buckner was found in the water near the Park Street Bridge on July 20th. Alameda's police chief says investigators had little to go on when the body was first discovered.
We started this case with nothing, and through round-the-clock work, through the use of technology, through the use of forensic evidence, we were able to identify the victim, and through further investigation, we were able to identify the suspect.
27-year-old Rachel Imani Buckner, affectionately known as Imani to family and friends, was a loving, ambitious, loyal, and outgoing woman with an infectious smile and radiant personality to match, making it easy for people to gravitate towards her. Rachel graduated high school with honors and followed her father's footsteps by attending Howard University, where she graduated with a double major in philosophy and sports management before enrolling in law school at Golden Gate University. She was well on her way to becoming an accomplished and exceptional professional. In fact, she was just a few months shy from earning her law degree. She was at the beginning of her life and new journey and was looking forward to all it had to bring. She even recently got engaged to her longtime boyfriend and fellow law student whom she met while attending Golden Gate University's law school. Things were really looking up for her. Most importantly, she was a loving and devoted mother to a beautiful daughter. Things seemed normal until one day Rachel vanished. Little did anyone know she would never be seen or heard from again. On July 20th, a dismembered body missing a head, feet, and hands was found inside of a plastic bag along the shoreline near the Bay Farm Island Bridge in Alameda by a passerby. It will be more than 1 month later before police positively identified the body.
The identity of the body discovered along a walking path near the Bay Farm Island Bridge in Alameda. A passerby made the discovery on July 20th. Authorities say the body was on the shoreline.
The body was identified as that of 27-year-old Rachel Imani Buckner. Police had little to go on when her body was first located in July. The remains were in a bag wrapped in plastic with duct tape, and due to her head, hands, and feet being cut off, traditional methods of forensic identification were impossible. Police identified Rachel through DNA evidence on August 30th. Additional evidence helped investigators locate and arrest a primary suspect, her live-in boyfriend and fellow Golden Gate law student, 42-year-old Joseph C. Roberts, just a week after Rachel's body was officially identified. After Roberts was arrested, investigators obtained a search warrant for his phone records and discovered he communicated with Rachel on July 13th, a week before her body was found. The couple lived together in Pleasanton, more than 30 miles from where Rachel's dismembered remains were found. Detectives also noted they found additional forensic evidence inside of the apartment that the pair shared, suggesting that Rachel was killed there. Roberts never reported Rachel missing at any point during the investigation, and his DNA was on the tape that wrapped her body, which meant he was aware she was dead. He was aware she was dismembered, as he took an active role in wrapping her body and concealing it in plastic garbage bags. He also kept and used Rachel's cell phone even after she died and had been in contact with multiple other women. Neighbors also described hearing frequent arguing and fighting coming from the couple's apartment. Few details are known about Roberts, except that he was a law student at Golden Gate University. Golden Gate University issued the following statement. It is with deep sadness that we learned of the death of Rachel Elizabeth Imani Buckner, a recent GGU law graduate. We are grieving at this senseless loss of life, and our hearts go out to the family and friends of Miss Buckner. In a written statement, Rachel's family stated that her death has left a void that is indescribable in their community and village. They are hoping and praying that justice is served to the full extent. The emotions of Rachel's death were felt by her family, friends, and her fellow colleagues, who took to social media to express their feelings and memories of the woman who meant so much to many. One person wrote, "She was such a light for me in law school, always checked up on me when I was homesick." Another wrote, "Rachel was such a beautiful soul. She wrapped her arms around me when I first got to the Bay. Rachel really made Cali and the Bay home for me. For that, I will always be grateful for her and the fact that I was privileged to share the same space as her. She was so sure of herself and was already so accomplished. I appreciated the small things too. Rachel had a natural glow about her. I will never forget the days that I would spend with her at her apartment. I loved seeing her at peace, smiling and putting me onto her new playlists. Those playlists never disappointed me, and neither did Rachel. I will always cherish her as such." Another person said they remembered her as a Girl Scout at Allen Temple Baptist Church in Oakland. Rachel grew up in San Ramon and graduated from Doherty Valley High School, where she played basketball.
A major break in the investigation of a woman whose remains were found in Alameda.
Our Krone 4's Hazik Medyoun reports that a suspect's been arrested and the victim has now been identified. It's a story you'll only find here.
The remains of a woman found on the shoreline of Bay Farm Island in Alameda has now been identified by the Alameda County Coroner as 27-year-old Rachel Buckner of Pleasanton.
In my 25 years as a police officer, I've never seen anything as disturbing as this.
No, I've never had a dismemberment case. This one is pretty brutal. Pretty brutal.
Investigators say it was back on July 20th, 2023, when a passerby walking on the trail made the discovery and notified police.
Our investigators work with the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the District Attorney's Office, Pleasanton PD, to track down the suspect.
On Wednesday, 42-year-old Joseph Roberts of Pleasanton was arrested for the murder.
Talk about what the relationship between the two?
So the two of them have been dating. They might have even been engaged.
Alameda Police Sergeant Spencer Mountain says that Roberts and Buckner lived together in Pleasanton and that it appears to be no ties between the two to the city of Alameda.
No, neither one of them seem to be connected to anything here.
Investigators say they're still working on trying to establish a motive, but Sergeant Mountain says the alleged evidence points to Roberts as the suspect.
Primarily, the main evidence in this case is DNA. His DNA and her DNA, linking them together.
42-year-old Joseph C. Roberts has been charged with murder and taken into custody by Alameda police on suspicion of murder. He is being held at the Santa Rita jail. Roberts has not entered a plea, but will appear in front of a judge at his next hearing on September 21st. As previously mentioned, Rachel was also a mother, and the family seeks to raise funds not only for funeral expenses, but also for her daughter's needs. The page has raised $73,000 out of its $100,000 goal. A memorial service is scheduled for November 4th, and as of right now, her missing head and extremities still have not been found. The case remains ongoing.
Now heading to the courtroom. This all started with the discovery of human remains along the bay.
Today in the Bay's Chris Sanchez joins us live in Dublin this morning. And Chris, it sounds like the victim was in an explosive relationship with that suspect.
Yeah, by all accounts, from what neighbors have told us, from what investigators have said, it sounds like the death of this young woman was the culmination of a very violent relationship. A 27-year-old Rachel Buckner's body was found in a bag along the Alameda shoreline back in July. Her body was not intact. Her boyfriend, 42-year-old Joseph Roberts, was arrested at the Pleasanton apartment where they lived together. Neighbors told us they were horrified to hear of Buckner's death, but said that the trouble started long before that, with frequent arguments they could hear through the walls.
It's just honestly really scary. Like, I was like kind of scared for her, and I always wanted to go over to see like, hey, like, do you need something?
Investigators told us Roberts also assaulted several of Buckner's family members. He will be arraigned on a murder charge this morning. He will be in court in Oakland. Will be there as well.